YouTube output. It's a little bit behind, but that's okay. Checking. YouTube is up, Twitch is up, wonderful. Alright, we are live. I'm trying out some new settings here today, yet again, so I'm gonna play a quick little warm-up game to see if there is... I'm gonna play a quick warm-up game to see if there's like any lag or anything on the stream, but I think hopefully we should be good. I'm trying some... I think I finally found the solution to record and stream at the same time, so the video, like the YouTube video quality later is actually going to be good. Hello! Hi, Sayed. X10. Houdini Man. Stay locked in. Go, my GOAT #1 Overwatch player. Yo, thanks for popping in, Nuclear. Good to see you. Thank you for the follow, Seraph. What up, Ice Creamin'? Everybody's piling in. Let me see really quickly. Let me put on some quick little tunes. And then I'm gonna play a little warm-up game just to make sure that there's not any like lag in the stream or anything, since I am trying out some new settings. Hey yo, first time tuning into the stream because you stream a little late for you. I'm sorry. There are some days that I stream very, very early. But today we are going to be doing some live ranked lessons. Oh, wait. I don't know if I changed Twitch's title. Yes, I did not. Bang. There will probably, unless we get some crazy time on our hands suddenly, probably won't have time for viewer coaching. But if we get a little bit of extra time, then that would be a wonderful thing to add to our agenda. Okay, but there's a few things that I'm going to be trying a little bit differently today and for the next few episodes of the Overwatch ranked lessons. First thing that I want to be trying is I want to see if we can focus on specific heroes per video, since I am capable of hyperflexing across different games. But I know like most people don't have like an insanely large hero pool. So I'm going to see if I can focus on one or two, maybe 1 to 2 heroes per game, and trying to restrict myself to those heroes that we decide beforehand. So for today's tank session, I want to be trying Reinhardt and Diva, primarily focusing on Diva, but then talking about Reinhardt anytime Diva's banned, because let's be honest, Diva's very likely to be banned. Let me know in chat if there's any lag on stream or anything, but I am hoping that there won't be, and I'm also hoping that the recording is going to be good, but I will check that later. Let's warm up some Diva mechanics here. No lag for you? Awesome. Oh, that is wonderful to hear. I'll check the recording right after this game, and then we can get into our ranked lessons. Kind of unlucky that we got Flashpoint early. I've had like so many games on Flashpoint that just go like so long out of nowhere. Like if the point goes through like all 5 points, I feel like it can be one of the longer game modes. Of course, it's no like escort or hybrid, but it's still, I think, pretty up there. I'm really excited to talk about Diva or Reinhardt today because there's just so much to talk about, and I want to try a little bit more of a shift in commentary as well. So we're going to be trying out quite a few things today. Still the same old like ranked lessons you can expect. Like I'm still just going to be talking through my thought process on like what I'm doing per game to get up to champ consistently across the roles. But I'm going to be a little bit more focused on specific heroes as well as... No, let me live. Awesome. What up, Navi? I'm gonna be trying to shift my commentary a little bit more towards like talking through like what options I have. And then probably when I'm focusing on specific heroes, I'll be talking about like what are common options that you'll have in most fights per the hero, since it does change a little bit, especially someone like D.Va versus Reinhardt. Reinhardt's gonna have like way fewer options than a D.Va will in some fights, but generally how it goes is more mobility gives you more options, but the options are a little bit like weaker. When you have just more raw numbers in your kit, you're gonna have fewer options, but the options that you have are gonna be pretty damn good. Kinda into it a little bit, that's okay. I'm really excited for our support games today, as well as I'm going to be looking through some of the comments, I think, before we pick our, or before we get into our first game for ranked lessons. I'm going to be picking our next competitive weapon, since I talked about that a little bit in the last video, or the video that went up yesterday, how we have 3,000 comp points on our account now. So I'm going to be looking through some of the comments on that video to see which weapon skin was the most upvoted, and then I'll probably just get that one before we head in. Yay, finally caught a stream off work. Glad you could make it. Welcome in. Oh, whoa. Sierra ult I never have like a good read on. I think it's like one of the ults that I maybe don't understand very well in the game. Just because I just haven't grinded Sierra too much, or had as much experience against them as other heroes. But they're really fun. I think the raw damage output that Sierra can do is just kind of insane. I think a lot of the situations where I'd kind of want to play like a Bastion of sorts, I can sometimes like slot Sierra in. Gonna be a little bit more squishy and a little more mobile, but they're really, really fun with once you hit like the tracking shot. You have enough comp points to get a new weapon skin, but you're a bit too afraid to commit to one. I really get it. Bro, it feels like a big decision. You gotta wait like so long to rack them up. Now you can get another one easily, but there's still something about it. I really understand. I really get it. I remember like when I was back on like Overwatch 1 when there was just only like golden weapons, I was so nervous, and I like needed to get like my absolute favorite heroes first, and if I couldn't decide on which one was my favorite hero, I just had to flip a coin. I always just left it up to chance. Just google.com, flip a coin, what hero am I getting my golden gun for? Her lock-on nerf needs to be nerf. It's insane how much better than Soldier Ult is. Yeah. It is kind of crazy how good it is, because she just does a bunch of damage. Like her spread, I think it's really interesting how like hard it is to just get the damage onto people consistently as Sierra. But like the lock-on shot I think is a really cool idea. In practice, it can feel a little bit weak sometimes, I think just because projectile tracking is just fundamentally kind of hard to get value out of. At least compared to like hit scan and stuff. But it's still a really, really cool idea. I hope that Sierra is explored a bit more in the future. Bro, D.Va eat mechanics are so cool. I love like the little mind games that have to be played between like the D.Va and the Ana every time that they have sleep dart up. Do you think there's a significant limit for the skill ceiling of a console players compared to PC? No, not really. There was actually a video that I think J3 made a really, really long time ago where they put a pro PC team up against the #1 ranked console team. And it was actually like really close. It was like pretty damn close. I don't know too much about what the console scene is like, since I just have never played console. The only time that I did was I was on vacation once in Florida, I believe. and my team really needed me to come in for scrims, so I ended up buying Overwatch on my Switch to show up to scrims. It was like a Rein meta, so it didn't change too much, going from like controller to, or PC to controller, but it was still really funny. That's like my one experience playing on any sort of console. Thought the skins you buy with comp points were shared between all heroes. I was devastated when you found out the truth. That does suck. I have a question. What's your main role and why do you prefer / play better on that role? I'm most known for my tank, and I have the most experience on tank just because it's the role that I got picked up to my first competitive team on. So I have a bunch of like scrim hours and I've played in really difficult lobbies frequently on tank. But I think intuitively my support is usually better than my tank. I think my brain just sort of fits in support a little bit better, but I just have more experience on tank, so it's probably my best right now. Though both my tank and my support are like consistently like champ 3+, with my DPS lagging behind a little bit at like champ 4. But it's just because I have more hours on tank than the other roles. I think that if I put a few more hours into support, then it would catch up quite quickly. And DPS is just hard because mechanics, especially like around like the sort of like low champ level, when like most people like are playing for good ideas and pretty like consistent like concepts. Like the difference makers between DPS is just like your mechanics. I just don't have. I have a lot of hours on Kovacs or like aim trainers compared to like tank players and some support players, but compared to like DPS players, my my mechanics lack a little bit. Or like in like champ for DPS players, my mechanics lack. The meta is just way different. His skin has just been meta because Zims for so long. That makes sense. Zimming on console, I imagine. Like, I've heard it's like a huge issue, but I haven't needed to really experience it myself yet because I just haven't played on console. Though that is one of the projects I have on my to-do list, is I do want to see. I'm gonna be probably making a quick little series about like. I'll try to get like to champ on console or something. I don't know when that will be, but I will give it a whirl at some point in the probably distant future. It's not on my immediate to-do list, but it is something that I really want to try. Since I love Overwatch, I love exploring like the different sort of like avenues to play the game, and seeing how my knowledge sort of stacks up through different environments. That's why I adore rank so much, but I just haven't gotten the chance to really play on console yet. It's something I really want to do, and I want to make content about because I think that it'd be really cool to showcase some of the differences that I know. I had a ton of fun with it in 6v6 as well, since I just hadn't played 6v6 before starting the 6v6 Monday series a few weeks ago. Sam, honestly, you're a tank main for the most part. You have very higher peaks on support. My DPS mechanics are always a tad behind. I get it. I really get it. I did play DPS a few Face-It seasons ago in Face-It Masters League. I can play it like DPS up to like a semi-professional level, but it's just because like it's just brain. It's like my mechanics. When I was like super grinding DPS, I got them like up to par with like most of the other like champ level players, and I could actually like make an impact based off of just like my knowledge of the game. But for the most part, a lot of DPS just have better mechanics. Primarily, like when I was playing DPS, it was Genji Tracer meta for Flex CPS, which is the role that I was put on for the team. I really wanted to play Symmetra in main. I said to my team, guys, if we put me on Symmetra, like it was before Twisted Minds like really started popping off, and I saw the value of Sim. I was winning all of the games in rank that I had on Sim, and I knew that they could be just so insanely strong. And then I was not believed. I was not believed in. So then I just kind of did what everyone else was doing and played Genji Tracer, which I did fine, but I wasn't like a standout player or anything. I trolled at the start of that season, but then I just grinded to the point where I could actually kind of like hold my own. It was a really, really fun season, but definitely one of my weaker individual performances in Masters League, or like that semi-professional league, because I just didn't have the experience on DPS compared to my tank or my support. That'd be so cool. You play a PC but with a controller, so sometimes it feels like you have a disadvantage because you never learned how to play using keyboard mouse. That makes sense. I hear that controller on keyboard is really fun. Yo, thank you so much for the sub, Dr. Bussin. I appreciate it. Welcome back. D.Va's banned a bunch on console? That makes sense. So bad that if you don't play D.Va on tank, you just can't win, I see. Time to grind for that Astra on Kovacs. Soon I'll be going on my Mega Kovacs grind. How long did it take for me to get to champ? You know, I've been playing since Overwatch 1, but how long did it take for you to get through the ranks? I got Grandmaster in Overwatch 1 for the first time in, I want to say 2018? 2018 sounds right. So it took me a few years since I first started playing. I started playing at the start of Overwatch's release. So 2016 to 2018. No, maybe it was 2019, actually. I think it was probably 2019 that I hit GM for the first time. So it took a few years. It took me a while. It is really, really hard to grind up, as well as, like, I wasn't... The only resource that I kind of used to improve was a streamer that I liked a lot, DSP Stanky. Very, very old name. They were just like a Lucio one-trick guy. So I just like watch their gameplay and like get inspired to try out some ideas occasionally. But there are a lot of resources around now to climb very, very quickly. But it takes a while. It takes a bit to grind. Make sure that you're setting like sort of shorter goals for yourself. I forgot to buy the gun. I'm a... oh well, I'll do it afterwards. You just want to break through high diamond, low masters on support. You've been stuck for so long. Hope your videos can help me. I hope so. High diamond, low masters is like one of those sort of like points where I see a lot of people. All right, Navili, I'll time you out. I see a lot of people kind of struggling to break through that point. Time out, Navilia. What up, Goberg? You probably mentioned this a lot, but I have like goldfish brains, so is it your goal to go like pro in a league? Yeah, for the most part, I'm going to be trying, soon, hopefully in the next week or so, I'm going to be uploading some content of my team and Divas Band first. Alright, maybe it's a Rein day. But yes, I'll be grinding up to OWCS and trying to document and make content about the grind. And then what's my rank on Viscos benchmarks? Let me see. I do the medium scenarios in the Viscos benchmarks, and I usually bounce between Vermilion and Celadon, so somewhere in there, averaging around Saffron. And my pronouns, I go by any pronouns, so you cannot get it wrong. Don't worry about it. Alright, but locking into our first game here on Tank, with D.Va Band, today's video is going to be really focused on exploring some of the depths of D.Va. And if D.Va's banned, then it's going to be Reinhardt. So with Diva Ban, I'm going to be talking about Reinhardt and how I'm going to be going about them to get value in this game. We're champ 4 right now. Hopefully we're going to be able to get up to champ 3 today, but we will see. Reinhardt is a harder hero. So with them on Mauga, my job here is going to be basically I need to save a lot of my shield in this specific matchup to win the front line. Mauga is going to be a very dangerous person for my team to deal with, and I don't want to make it easy for them to get any value. So I'm just going to be trying to maintain space and help enable my team to not have to deal with this Mauga at all. And anytime that their Mauga uses the shout ability to give themselves a lot of self-healing, that's going to be my trigger to just sort of like look at them and then shield, since my shield is going to be a something that will make it so they are not able to use their shout to really self-heal. But with their Mauga pinning in, we're able to just sort of turn around and look back. How I want to be thinking about this next fight, I want to be holding this close corner. I think I could hold over there on that right side, but if I give them easy access to the point, it's going to be kind of hard to disrupt their team or like stop them from capping the point. So I just want to be making it as hard as possible for them to get to this objective. Since I see they're on a sleep out though, I can be walking on this a little bit. Unfortunately, as their Ana gets super pocketed, I will be going down before I'm able to really close out that kill, and then the rest of our team will not have a tank to really buffer any space or take any attention, so they will be going down. I really didn't expect to die there to the Ana, but unfortunately sometimes these things will happen. Reinhardt's time to kill is not that low compared to other tanks, so it's going to take a little bit more. Thinking about our attack or our retake here, playing into Orisa is pretty hard for Reinhardt. That's going to be one of the more significant counters because the gold will be able to stop our pin and the spin will as well, and the spin will just be able to displace us quite a bit. So as you can see there, they use both their gold and their spin, but with them in a pretty rough spot from doing both of those abilities, we can be looking to pressure them a bit more, but as they back up, I think that our play just wants to be kind of to clear out this Hanzo and then look to try to punish anyone who's too far in our space with our Earth Shatter. As their team is really far up, I'm just going to be looking for my Shatter onto their backline, taking the rest of their team down. We just went one ult for one ult, which is a very good trade for us. Shatter is a really strong ultimate and is going to be one of the main things that you need to be thinking about to carry on Reinhardt. Since Reinhardt is going to have a weaker frontline matchup sometimes into a lot of the current tanks, especially the ones added in Overwatch 2, your Shatter is going to be one of the few abilities that gets a little bit more consistent value than some of the other ultimates. So, thinking about their ults here, I kind of want to be playing a bit more aggressively because if they get their shooters kind of into a good spot, it's going to be really hard for us to retake. But as their Ana and their Kiriko are within walking distance of our Kitsune Rush, I just want to be taking them down by utilizing the speed boost that I gained from the Kitsune Rush to just sidestep the Orisa and then get onto the backline. Almost any time that I'm able to do that, it's going to be pretty favorable for us because we have a bunch of effective HP on Reinhardt with our shield compared to other tanks. We can take sometimes backline trades a little bit more if it's hard for us to really win the frontline trade. But with their Doomfist block out, we can just be sort of free swinging on them and their Hanzos to this right side so we can clean them up with our pin and we will be winning that first round. They attempted to counter us, but because we're playing in good spots and then pressuring their backline or their squishies every time that we get a chance to, we're going to be able to maintain control over this game and take the first point. I think for this sub point or this specific sub map, it's going to be a little bit harder as we're forced to play a bit more for that frontline trade. And whenever you're playing, like forced to play a bit to the frontline trade as Reinhardt, you want to be thinking a lot about your shield usage. If you are kind of getting your shield blown up a little bit too early, then you're not going to have any staying power in the front line throughout the fight, and you will not be able to control space for your team kind of whatsoever. So I want to just be using my shield and then sort of peeking around this corner to get some information before I commit to any plays, since with their Ramatra and their Sojourn being the ones who swung up first, if I were to go out early, I would absolutely just get most of my HP kind of blown up. So I know that I'm taking a lot of attention, and my DPS are on a really good angle, so I could just be stepping a little bit to maintain pressure onto their team. Anytime that I have HP to do so, I want to be seeing if I can take any attention or getting any value that I can, because if I'm just kind of like AFK and not controlling any important spots or buffering their team at all, they're able to just walk down my shooters and we're just going to be in a really rough spot from there. So I'm going to just be controlling this top left high ground for the most part. As the right side, I don't have much mobility. I could be holding that upwards corner, and I think that I actually will, since their slow is out. The main thing I really want to be careful about on Reinhardt is that Ramatra slow and the sleep dart, since if I get hit by either of those in a weaker spot, it will kind of spell out our doom. As our shield goes down, I want to just be pinning now, since staying alive is going to be much more valuable over time. I don't have my shield thing bound. With the sleep dart out, I'm able to pin down this Ana to clean them up. But as their Ramatra and their Sojourn chase us down, since our team is getting more kills, I'm still able to fight this fight. Unfortunately, with our Juno down though, maybe it would have been better for us to reset. So really quickly before we go into another fight, I'm going to be changing this control on Reinhardt because there. As you saw how I did the first fight where I held M1 as I had my shield up to look around me, the default bind for shield bash is the is M1, so it's really good to change it to melee to make sure that you are able to actually get... Oh no, we're not walking on our rush. Maybe the better play for me there would have been to pin down to make some space so we could properly use our rush instead of trying to line up a shatter. Since our team was already quite low by the time I hit the shatter, so we weren't able to follow up. I think maybe I could have just gone for something a little bit more risky there, as their Ramatra is going to get a bunch of value from their Kitsune rush as we matched. So I could be thinking about how I want to retake here. I'm tempted to clear top right and then drop to point. The reason of this being is because the Ramatra is going to be able to chunk down a lot of our shield if we walk through that left side. While I do like to control that space, I think that pressuring this high ground is going to be something that's really beneficial, and I can... Wow. I can use it to get onto their right side, or that like sort of central high ground above the point. I don't know why my control still doesn't feel that good. Oh, that's why. Okay, I'm just silly. All good. We won the first round, but we're going to be going down the second round. It's a little bit harder on those closer range, narrower points as Reinhardt, because the main form or advantage that we have as Reinhardt compared to other tanks is going to be just our shield health and our mobility to get into good spots to use our effective HP with both our health and our shield. So when we don't have any good spots to really pin, it's kind of hard to get value out of our hero compared to something like a Ram or a Risa or Reinhardt. But going into this next point, I think that it's going to be pretty hopeful for our team, especially with the swap to Reaper. It's going to give us a little bit more frontline pressure, so we can maybe take some more exchanges against that Ramatra hero. But with their Ram and Sojourn walking up, we see that shield get used early, as well as the slow. We have really good point control. Taking a look at my team means that we can be looking to try to chill on the point, but as some of us go down just because their DPS hit some good shots, we are forced to go for a pretty aggressive play, which their Ana is able to negate with Sleep Dart. very okay. Maybe I could have been trying to find their Sojourn earlier and then denying that sort of pressure that they can put onto our team, and that's something that I think I will be considering as we go through the rest of this game. I could go right side, I could go left side. As we speed bring right side though, I'll try to get value out of this by forcing out the Reaper. We are successful in forcing out shield and fade, no reason to rush it, so I'm just going to be waiting out that shield and then slowly bleeding out a lot of their resources. My shield is getting very, very low. I don't want it to break because if it goes on cooldown, that's actually pretty bad for us. But as the Ramatra is on this left side, I just want to see if I can force their form. Unfortunately, with our team fighting this right side, looks like we're going to have a bit more of a difficult time doing that. But with their form used, we actually have an opportunity to get a little bit active. Unfortunately, I miss my pin. And as they Kitsune rush, it's going to be a very unfavored fight for us. But we do hit a nice slam to try to clean up anyways. Nano Boost coming onto the Ramatra means that we just want to be running away. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be getting the ring speed boost to really win this game as we need. And we're going to be going to the back of this game here. I'm wondering what I can be doing differently. I'm forcing out CDs, I think, the best that I can, and we're not able to really capitalize on it like how we were in the first part of the game. So I think I might be trying to get a little bit more aggressive from the get-go in these fights. A huge kill coming out from our Cassie. I know their Ana's on this left side, so I might just dive this straight up. Sleep Dart coming on to me. I was hoping that our Reaper would make it a little bit harder for them to follow up, but I think that opening the fight that way is going to allow us to potentially win this point. Sojourn's very close. Unfortunately, I'm not quite able to get that kill. Kitsune rush on the point for our team. It's going to result in us being able to walk on this Kiriko, putting them in a spot that will help our Cassidy clean it up. And we will be taking this point right back. I think that I'm going to be staging up right here to see if I'm able to catch out any players or squishies on their team. Since their Ramatra is fairly close though, I want to be a little bit careful as I hold this space. Since I see the Ram on left though, this is going to be a good place to pressure. I bait out Sleep Dart very, very early, and the Ramatra form. Juno Ray being used for our team, and with the cleanse coming out for our team, we can just be pushing that space, and now I really just need to farm my Shatter. The Reaper really wants me dead, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do much about him yet. But as I farm my Shatter, our team goes down a bit. I just really need my Shatter, man. My shield goes down, and we will be losing this game so close. Unironically, if I hit one more Fire Strike there to get my Shatter in time, we just win. There were so many good opportunities to use a Shatter, and I just didn't quite have it through that time period. But all good. Sometimes, well, especially like with these sort of like higher ranked games, it's going to be super, super demanding on each individual's execution. If you fall short even just a little bit, it can be disastrous for the overall result of the game. So I think that while we were playing to good ideas and we started off strong, because we weren't quite able to get the value that we needed in some of the kills on the more mobile heroes of their team, we will be losing that game, though sometimes that'll happen. Alright, I'm taking a look at chat now. Rein's kit aged like milk compared to the other Overwatch 1 tanks. Yeah, I agree. Well, they kind of just put a bunch into the other Overwatch 1 tanks. Like, they gave D.Va like a way shorter booster, and then like longer DM. Wrecking Ball, they gave literally everything. Grapple, retract, like shield, you can give your teammates shield, bubble, Roadhog. They just gave other tanks like more tools. With Reinhardt, they literally only gave him one extra Fire Strike, and like you can turn your pins a little bit more. Buy a weapon variant. Thank you for the reminder. Let me see what the most liked comment on yesterday's video was, and I will be buying that weapon skin. Let me actually pause queue for a second. All right, let me see here. Where's my OBS? Yo, thank you so much for the sub, Uns. For the gifted sub. I appreciate it so much. Good to see you in chat. That's awesome. I'm glad you could catch the stream. Alright, let's see what the comments are like. Okay, I see one for Golden Tracer. That'd be kind of cool. Wu Yang Red. Golden Mercy Staff. I think that's the most liked right now. Oh, it's tied for the Golden Tracer and the Mercy. Galaxy Wrecking Ball. That'd be kind of cool. Tracer, Crimson. I'm seeing a good bit of Tracer. There's been 2 for Tracer. Brig Red Gun. That's 3 votes. Okay. I see a lot of Mercy and I see a lot of Tracer. I'm tempted to lean a little bit more into Tracer, as I'm sure I'll be playing more Tracer than Mercy. Yo, thank you so much for the sub, nickname. There's a hype train started. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Wait, Avilia, how are you? How are you talking? I thought you were timed out. Thank you so much, nickname. That's the goat. Alright, so Golden Mercy or Crimson Tracer is what I saw, I think, that stuck out to me quite a bit. Crimson Tracer would be kind of cool. Or the Golden Tracer. Ooh, with the Posh skin. That could be cool. That could be cool. Galactic Winston. Galactic Winston could go hard. Galactic Winston would go very hard. Yo, thank you for the follow, Memory Glyph. Let me see Golden Mercy. Oh, that's nice. Ooh, wait, why is that kind of tough? The golden does look awesome. Do we have any other skins for Tracer? We have this. Ooh, wait, what the hell? Wait, this skin is so tough. Damn. Damn. Wait, what if we get that and the Galactic skins? Would that be tough? Would that be cool? On the Galactic and the Crimson? Yeah. Ooh. She got that RGB. Oh, that looks so cool. I'm a little bit more of a fan of the Galactic, I think, with this. You vote Tracer? I think I'm leaning towards Tracer. I don't know if it should be the Crimson Tracer or the Galactic. I think Crimson would be cool. Also Galactic. I see one vote Galactic. Okay, wait, vote in chat. Vote in chat. Galactic or Crimson. And then we'll get into our next game. I see 2 for Galactic. Saw you playing Queen against 6 the other day. Been grinding 6v6 with her and she's too much fun. Works better than 5v1. Yeah. Queen is so much fun. Hello, I'm able to watch today's stream. Hope you have great games. Yo, thank you so much, Uns. Galactic, Galactic, Crimson, Crimson. I see 3 for Crimson. 4 for Galactic. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of Galactic. Alright, bet. Let's get Galactic. And that will be our second gun for this account. Bang. Alright, let me get into another queue and then I'll try to... Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it looks like. Thank you for the follow, Panny Bogart. Yo! Wait. Why is it so cool? Wait, why is it so sick? It's so glowy. It's honestly low-key a little bit distracting, but that's so cool. You do Ana for the support hero next session? Yeah, I'm super down to do Ana. I'll be keeping some mental notes about for our support next session. I'm going to be focusing on like 1 to 2 heroes per video for the next like week or so, just to see how it feels. So I see one call for Ana, and I never complain about playing some Ana. Chash, you get Apocalypse Warriors and Jade Gun for your main ram? Yeah, you should. That would be sick. Played the Overwatch Classic game mode yesterday, and I can see why people say they miss Overwatch 1. It was so fun in a simple way. What's the patch in the Overwatch Classic? Does it change regularly? Because I haven't played it yet. Ooh, it's 2020 right now? No. I need... Oh my god, wait, it's the October 2020 patch? That's like my home. That's where I learned the game. That's where I learned... That's where I like truly started like grinding. Oh, I need to play that later. That'd be so much fun. Hey, just dropping by to say I love your video. Saw a massive improvement on how you play tank. Didn't really climb, but only played 5 to 6 games a day, so it was me. But thank you. Awesome. I'm glad that you saw some improvement. Glad the videos could help. Alright, we get our game. Oh, Esperanza could be pretty fun. Please don't be Circuit. Okay, awesome. Diva and Reinhardt. I could be trying to talk about Reinhardt. Reinhardt kind of sucks here. So hard to play Rein on more vertical based maps because the only thing that you can really do is just sit on the cart, in which Mauga and Orisa are just so much better at doing that. Mauga, Orisa, and Ramattra just sit on the cart so well. Though Reinhardt actually is able to pressure the cart fairly well himself due to the minor perk of being able to heal quickly using the shield, as well as just the raw effective HP. So Diva's not banned, so maybe we'll try to lean into some Diva for this game. Yeah, let's try to do that. Alright, so time to lock into our second game for today. I'm going to be locking Diva here instead of Reinhardt because it's the main focus that I want to be for this video. We'll come back to Reinhardt in the future. Just Diva was banned in the last game. But Diva has a super wide amount of versatility. You're able to play Diva in a bunch of different spots because her kit is able to do quite a bit. She has very good frontline numbers. She's very mobile, and she's able to provide a lot of utility using her defense matrix to deny a lot of people or a lot of enemy teams plays, or enable and save her team. So Diva has a lot of options per game that you play them in, and I'll be talking through how I sort through all of those options, which options I see, and then how I'm deciding which ones to pick. So I could be starting on that left side area, or I could be taking this right main. With my team composition, I want to be a little bit closer to them. So I think that I'm going to be fighting on this left side, just sort of seeing what my team is up to. I see my Genji's fairly close. It will give me an option to pressure their backline a bit, and because we are all close and my team is able to get super active, we can just walk onto their backline instantly and then take down their Juno and then shortly follow up on their Brigitte. I know my Kiriko is very low, so I'm going to be trying to deny this Soldier 76 to see if I can keep my Kiriko alive. We are able to get the kill, but unfortunately they were getting a lot of cart progress during that time. So we just want to immediately turn back to the cart and then steal it back. I could be peeling for my backline and trying to force out this Wrecking Ball, but since my Soldier and Juno are there, I'm going to trust them to be able to live that solo ball, and then I'm just going to continue pushing the cart to see if we can get the lead right back. I could be trying to walk up further, but I think that I'm going to be staying close to the cart here, as the only big threats that they can be putting onto our team will happen once they're this top right area or that top left. But until then, we have a bunch of cover we can hide behind, and staying on the cart will allow me to easily fight this top right area, as you can see here now. Or I could just boost her up to that left side as well. Since we're able to force them to walk pretty close into our effective range by chilling on this choke area, we can utilize a lot of like our damage and our boosters super effectively. I could be shooting at that Emre, but it would be very mechanically demanding, and I think that instead the better play is just going to be for me to get onto their Juno. Unfortunately, I'm not quite able to kill their Juno, but as their ball and their Emre sort of walking me, I want to see if I can be back in here, but I will be going down, and their Emre will be cleaning me up. They do get the lead as well, which really sucks, and now I'm staggered. I think that the best play probably would have just been, as soon as we went down 1 or 2, to just die on the cart. We are going to have a lot of point presence compared to their team, but their Wrecking Ball is going to have a lot more mobility than us. We're going to be winning the raw numbers exchange against a Wrecking Ball, but we're not going to be able to keep up with their speed as they maneuver the map. So we want to be putting ourselves in very good positions and just holding them a bit firmer than their Wrecking Ball would be able to do for their team. So I'm going to be pressuring this high ground, and unfortunately I'm not able to find the kill onto their Juno, and as they use their rally, they will be cleaning up the rest of our team, which will kind of suck for us. Main thing that I want to be trying to think about here, maybe as I'm thinking about the fights that we've lost, is I'm not marking out the enemy team's DPS maybe as much as I should, and instead I'm pressuring their backline. So potentially I could be posturing and rotating in a way to get onto their shooters more. So I think I'm going to take the central window area, because not only is this a strong angle for their DPS to be, it will allow me to get onto and deny their DPS value much easier. So we get their Emre very low, but as they use their Juno Ray, I'm going to just be chilling, since there's not much I can do there damage wise, and unfortunately I think that we will probably be going down here. Oh, I could talk about bans actually. Okay, yeah. With our Kiriko going down, I think I'm just going to try to live in their walls, since if I die here, it's really bad. And I will be getting out of mech and then going down, and now we're going to have one real fight before they get the chance to win the game. Main thing that main struggle that we're kind of running into here right now is that their Brigitte is able to proc inspire and sustain a lot of the damage that we could do onto their team. As our Emre goes up, I want to see if I can get up here to eat some of their ultimate ability. Brigitte walking closer to us, and then as our Reaper steps, it's going to be a trigger for us to walk forward to help them out. Emre is falling very low, and we are able to clean it up. We have our bomb, so we can be playing this a bit more aggressively. I'm just really hoping that we don't C9 as I do this. Soldier is very close and wants to be taking a fight against us, but they will be going down since we just are able to stabilize in their backline and then sort of turn around for the Soldier. How we want to probably be playing this, as we have our own Brigitte and our Sombra and Reaper now, I want to be probably just defaulting to just sit on the card a bit And then my triggers for sort of flying at somebody are going to be if my team is in a good position, or if a shooter on the enemy team is in a good position, like that soldier on top left, having really, really good sight lines onto my entire team. But until then, I kind of want to just be playing in a bit more of a neutral position. But as I see my Sombra using EMP onto their backline, we can just be following up with our boosters very, very quickly and then winning this fight. Juno's very low, but as they don't have any real threats on our team, it's going to be our time to try to get active onto their backline. They're going to be a little bit too fast for us for the most part, though, unless their Juno is generous and wants to donate this fight win to us, which it seems like that's the case. Wrecking Ball uses the minefield. I really want to be putting myself in a spot to deny their team, as I hear a lot of their shooters on this right side. I just want to be soft marking it out. There's not much I can really do to like get aggressive in there. Since they have the Brigitte, they're going to be able to brawl us out really, really heavily. I'm just going to be chilling back on the card a bit, and then now that they are using ultimate and I'm not able to really sit main like how I was, it's going to be time for us to get aggressive on that right side. But I'm just waiting for my triggers, and until then, because their Wrecking Ball is not going to have better numbers than us on the raw, or like on the cart, and we're going to have more staying power on the actual objective, we can just be chilling there until they start making a play, or our team makes a play that we need to support, or the enemy team making a play that we need to deny. Until then, we just want to be chilling main and take some attention. So I see their Emery walking up a bit, so I'm just going to be looking for a quick little dash, and I see their soldier walking up this left side, and that's pretty dangerous. So that will be one of my triggers to go deny this threat. I don't want to be chasing it too much because we need to be on the cart, but I'm going to leave my Kiriko to 1v1 that, since my job on the cart is a little bit more important than going to clean up that one soldier. Since even if we kill that soldier, by the time we kill him and then get back to the fight, they're going to be respawned and then already shooting at our team, since it's just so far away. So I'm just going to leave them be, and with our Kiriko back in the fight, I have low DM already. I'm looking to deny this Emery ult as much as I can, but unfortunately they're going to be getting some good pressure onto our team. Brigitte's on the cart, so Emery's on this high ground though. I can just be looking for my value. I'm not going to be bombing here since we're already down 2 teammates. Even if I use my bomb to remech, it would be resulting in us kind of having a very difficult time actually finding any real value. But with the 2-minute marker passing, the game has officially started in my mind. So I think that probably what we want to be doing is maybe getting a bit more aggressive. We have a bunch of ultimates actually, so maybe we can just be chilling a little bit more, especially if we're going to be using things like our Kitsune Rush fairly aggressively here. It might be good for us to be saving our bomb and not getting it forced in aggressive plays. The Wrecking Ball is sort of walking forward. I see their Juno behind. This is actually a really good stagger for us, but I need to make sure that my Kiriko stays alive throughout this process, because if my Kiriko goes down, we're going to be in a really, really rough position, as we're not going to have nearly as much healing to stabilize. But with their Juno going down early, we can just be forcing out this Wrecking Ball kind of instantly in the fight. So we see the Wrecking Ball uses shields and is staying low in main, so they're going to have a hard time pressuring out our backline through the remainder of this fight. Our soldier goes down. I know that their soldier is going to be peeking our Wuyang soon, so I'm just going to be backing up to give my Wuyang some defense matrix to keep them alive off that Wrecking Ball hit. Finding some big missiles onto their team, but we're not quite able to find a kill. With our Wuyang going down to the Wrecking Ball over on the other side of the map, I think we will be forced to stabilize and use our bomb to touch pretty soon here. They know I'm all close here, so I'm just going to be chilling in this corner, or in this little room, to make it hard for them to chase me, since the bomb would be forcing, or they would be forced to chase me through the small corridor, which is in my bomb's LOS. But with the Wrecking Ball's major perk of the shields, they're going to be able to tank that, and we will not be able to do too much about it. Very unfortunate game. Kind of very, very difficult. We ended 19-5. I think that we did, for the most part, a lot that we could have done. Potentially, we could have marked out the Wrecking Ball a little bit more, but especially as I'm sort of in these higher ranks around Champ 4, Champ 3, the hero pool that I would need to be playing to consistently be winning is going to be a bit smaller, since execution is super, super important as you're playing around your actual skill level, and the lobbies get pretty hard. But that will be a-okay. I think I'm still able to showcase a lot of why I can win sometimes. So let's do that for the next game. Bang. And then like editing Eevee is gonna like cut right there, and then it'll be immediately on to the next game. It's gonna be freaking awesome. I'm not feeling this song. Let me try to fix it. There we go. That'll do. Alright, let me take a look at chat. Does your one-tricking advice also apply to perks? Less so for perks, probably. I like having some perks. It does apply in some areas, I think. Because with perks, the more that you use them and the more comfortable you get, the more you're actually going to be able to find value consistently out of them. The execution of using those perks effectively is going to get better over time. But I think that limiting it to specific heroes is probably, or just like the one tricking for heroes is probably going to be the main thing that I'd recommend, because perks are a part of a hero. You can experiment, since you're going to be playing the specific heroes so frequently. You'll have chances to explore which perks get more value or less value in which scenarios. And I think that it can make it pretty good to get a very good feel for your specific perks. She's not banned at all in low plat. That's good to hear. She's kind of perma-banned. Oh, you did stream snipe me. I was wondering why you got offline. I thought that you were trying to stream snipe me on Navilia. Oh, I guess it's Champ 2 right now, huh? So the queue would probably just be too long for you. Navilia is my flex support. That's my teammate on the team that I'm grinding up to WCS with. Yo, thank you for the follow, Unbuilt Goose. First time catching these live. The YouTube videos have been really interesting to watch. Awesome. I'm glad they've been entertaining. Alright, and we get our third game for today. Diva is unfortunately banned, so it probably means that we're going to be leaning into Reinhardt here to talk about them a little bit more. Hydron is mad from the start, but that's okay. I think that with Reinhardt, especially on this sub point, Reinhardt's actually going to be one of the fairly strong hero, because we have a lot of areas where we can get into close range for our hammer swings. And there's a lot of really good choke points to be able to hold. Unfortunately, if we get the drum map, I forgot what it's called, but the super open one after the sub point, we are going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage on Reinhardt. Busan's one of those maps that has a very big variety in the kinds of sub points that are, or like what kind of heroes are good on which sub points. So main thing that I want to be thinking about is just trying to save some of my shield. As I'm a little bit faster than some of my team, I'm just going to be wanting to hold this right side. Since they're on Wrecking Ball, actually, every time the Wrecking Ball cycle is out is when I want to get active. I didn't think that my pin would hit there. But no way. No way he's back. Oh my god. Oh. Okay. Okay, I need to win. Okay. So for context, chat, that is the very, very, very good Reaper player. They kind of just spawned in like a few seasons ago. They used to be a contenders player. And I've not seen this guy lose. They hit like Champ 2 back in like old Champion. Only playing Reaper, just solely one freaking Reaper. So my thought process here, as the Wrecking Ball goes in, I'm actually going to be backing up to clear this space. And as soon as the space is cleared and the threats on my team are gone, it's going to be my time to look somewhere else. So Reaper's very, very close to our team, so I'm going to be backing up to try to clear this space again. The biggest issue with our hero in this matchup is that our lack of mobility is going to make it kind of hard to keep up with some of the more mobile heroes on the map. So with that Kiriko using their TP, it's going to enable our team to actually potentially chase it down, but unfortunately our Tracer is going to go down in the meantime. Reaper is very close though, so with the help of our rally we can take down most of their team. That's why Reinhardt's so strong on mecha base, is because you're able to force a lot of those sort of closer range fights and get a lot of value out of your pin, because you can be kind of holding these spaces down. Why did they Suzu? So with our Kiriko going down, I'm actually just going to be backing up a bit more, trying to get some of my HP back. Reaper's on our right side and Kitsune Rush used for the enemy team, so I just want to be sort of chilling back here. With our Shatter whiffing, it's actually going to put us in a very, very difficult spot. So what I want to be doing is acting kind of like a second Brigitte for my team and just deterring a lot of enemies from walking anywhere by standing on my team. It's a way to play Reinhardt that's really, really strong. But unfortunately their Genji still had their deflect, so I wanted to try to gamble to take them down, but as they have the ability to cancel out our Fire Strike, we will be going down there, and it's going to be a pretty scrappy fight for our team, though I think that we could potentially be holding the point a bit longer. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to quite get there in time, but that is a-okay, as we have a good bit of percentage to give up as we try to prep to win this sub points and win this round. As I see our Soldier getting pinned at, or stepped at, I just want to be kind of chilling a little bit. Our Brigitte is fairly low. I think as our Genji pins in though, I just want to be clearing the space. Remember, I'm kind of acting as a second Brigitte right now. So with our Brig holding down that left side, I can just be holding down this right side, and it makes it very hard for their team to play the game. Beat and Blade are used from the enemy team. With our Sojourn going down, I'm not able to do too much, but as most of their threats have used a lot of their resources, I can be looking to chill on the point a bit here, especially with their Genji going very, very low. Finding a Shatter onto the Wrecking Ball will not do too much for us, but it will enable our team to shoot a lot more as time goes on. With our Tracer going down though, I think that I could be looking to step on the point. I think that's unlikely that I'd be able to turn the fight though, so I'm just going to be backing up. I want to be maybe sitting in this sort of central area to see where their team is and where my team is before I do anything. Wrecking Ball under, so maybe I just go force the point here. They might look for a boop on me, but that will not be the case. So I could force point and then pin back later, because now with me forcing the point here, it's actually going to allow or force their team to get into pretty rough positions, because we will get this cap off. So with the Wrecking Ball putting a lot of time and resources into us on the point, our Sojourn's going to have space for their overclock, and we're going to be able to capture the objective. And now as we swing our hammer on it, they're going to be pressured to walk into us, and we will be winning this point and then winning this round. This is going to be a hard game to win, especially if we roll drums. So I'm really hoping we get some good RNG here. If we get downtown, we can definitely squeeze out a win, and we do get downtown. So very, very good for us, I believe. While it's kind of hard in the way that we aren't able to contest the high grounds whatsoever, we are able to bunker point, kind of like how we were showcasing on that last fight, much easier on the sub point compared to the drum map, where they're going to have a bunch of angles. It's going to be super far distances that we would have to cross and cover, so it's very likely if they have any shooters on their team that we would be taking a lot of damage through our pins. We would be forced to use a lot of our HP resources before we actually got to the point. So I'm going to be taking the central area for now, and as I see their team sort of developing angles, I'm just going to the point. Reaper and Lucio are close, and since I see most of their team speccing their resources into that, like directly on the point, it will enable us to take that high ground afterwards. And now that their team is fighting elsewhere, we just force the point, bring them to us, since see Overwatch is an objective-based game, and we will get the cap and then find picks as time goes on. With the Wrecking Ball on that right side, I think that I just want to be acting as a second Brigitte still, even kind of like for our Brigitte, as I see our Brig getting walked at. I just pin over there, try to deter the enemy as much as I can. But as we are up the Genji, I just want to be sort of taking the corner of the map, making it hard for their Reaper or their Kiriko to walk up at all, and then still just staring at my team to know when I want to be back. So I could look for a walk here, but I think that the best play for me is to probably just give some space, pin back, and then start leaning towards the point, and now trying to carry my Brigitte out of that sticky situation. Wrecking Ball, no grapple on the point. Lucio, no boop. We are able to hit that pin, and we see the Kiriko use their Suzu. So we could use our Shield Bash to chase that down, getting close enough range to hit that Fire Strike consistently. As the Reaper is close, I'm going to be pinning the wall because I hate walls, and now we just want to be sort of sitting on the cart the best that we can. Rally used from my Brigitte is going to be putting us in a pretty decent spot. I think Shatter onto the Kiriko will allow us to force out most of the healing that the enemy team would have, and we continue holding this objective. With our Tracer going down that right side, I'm stepping up main to see if I can get anything, but as their Genji and their Lucio all path through left side, it probably was a mistake to look for anything extra since they had ultimates and their threat was not fully forced out. I think normally walking up main is going to be pretty good, since it'd be hard for them to win that duel on the right side coast lane because they were at a numbers disadvantage. When they used an ultimate, they were able to turn that disadvantage around and make things somewhat even, or give themselves an advantage to actually clean up that fight despite them being down a few members. So I'm going to be walking with my team through this left side, again kind of acting as a big Brigitte. And with the Reaper close, I want to see if I can hit the pin, because I knew that if they're TPing in so aggressively like that, they're definitely going to be wanting to use their Death Blossom. But unfortunately, I'm not quite able to hit the pin, but that will be a-okay because they just used their Blossom and their Kitsune Rush for no ultimates of ours. So we're going to be having a huge ult advantage coming up pretty soon here. But as their team is staging, I'm wondering how much I can actually do for us. So I'm just going to be stacking on our Sojourn again, trying to deter their team in whatever way I can. I was hoping I could catch the Wrecking Ball with one of my pins, but as our Tracer forces point, they're going to be pulling some resources, and as I see resources pulled towards the point, I will be walking forward to help out our Tracer. And now we are back in this amazing position that we continue defaulting back to, of just being on the objective. And as they use their minefield, we can be looking to clean this up. Reinhardt is going to be one of the better tanks to just play Minesweeper with. And Wrecking Ball falls 1 HP, is going to give up the flip fairly soon. I want to see this Reaper's fade out before I use my Earth Shatter, but finding the Fire Strike onto Lucio, Wrecking Ball is down for the count, and we will be winning this game. kind of very scary matchup for us as Reinhardt, especially if we rolled the drum map. I think that it could have been much, much, much more difficult because we wouldn't have had that resource of forcing the point be nearly as effective for us, but we are still able to win that game. That will be awesome. W Navilia. Alright, but I think with that, going to be staying in Champ 4, around 18%, forcing mainly Reinhardt for this video, but we were able to get that one D.Va game in. So for my YouTube video audience, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bang. And then, like, editing Eevee is going to be, editing Eevee is going to cut it right there, and it's going to be freaking awesome. Well, actually, I just stopped recording and then started recording again. Alright, now support. I'm going to be taking like a 1 or 2 minute break here, and then we'll be getting into our support games. So, if any of you have 1 to 2 heroes you want me to focus on for support today, just drop them in the chat, and I will be looking to focus on them today. Kiri would be amazing. Alright, bet. Where do you get callouts for areas besides playing the game a lot in upper ranks? I have no idea. Honestly, like, even in upper ranks, people got like different callouts for like different areas. I just like hear a word and just kind of like guess what it means. He already did a video, but Brigitte, Mizuki, Lifeweaver, Juno, Mizuki. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of Mizuki. Okay, we can get some Mizuki going today. I heard Ana earlier. Alright, I think Mizuki's going to be our primary focus, and then if Mizuki's ever banned or we can't play Mizuki, I see a few Kirikos. So yeah, we can do some Kiriko. Huh? What's going on? Is there something wrong with the stream? I'm just waiting for, I'm just taking like a quick little break before, I'm taking a quick little break before we hop into our support games. While we're figuring out what support we want to play. I'm seeing a lot of Mizuki and I saw a few Kirikos, so I think that we will be focusing on playing Mizuki today, and then Kiriko if Mizuki's ever banned. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Wow, we got our game instantly. I think actually there's something that I was thinking about last game. As I focus on specific heroes for videos now, I'm going to be talking about, I'm actually going to be kind of active through the map picks and ban phases. So as I pick Mizuki, or I hover that I want to be playing Mizuki, I'm going to be talking about what I might want to be banning and what I might want to be trying to like get the enemy team to play, which would be really, really good. Runesapi is going to be, I think, a fairly decent map for Mizuki. There's going to be quite a few sort of smaller corridor areas where we can be bouncing our shots and forcing out flankers, as well as it's fairly open for us being able to damage people on, or like sort of chain down any divers that the enemy team might have. So I actually don't want D.Va ban, and I was talking too much, so I wasn't active in the ban phase at all. Okay, that's going to be a learning curve for me. That's going to be a learning curve. Because I'm just never active during ban phases. Okay, but locking into our first support game here, we're going to be leaning into our Mizuki. for this video, and then if Mizuki's ever banned or just completely unplayable, then we can try to slide in some Kiriko. But I do think that Mizuki, there's not going to be many areas where Mizuki will be completely unplayable, so it's probably going to be only if they're banned. With our team composition being the Zarya, Echo, and Torbjorn, how I want to be thinking, or the idea that I could be trying to play for initially, Baptiste. Okay, heard that. So with our Baptiste being kind of like a central healing figure for our team, potentially we could be trying to angle and lane a little bit more to pressure their backline and look for some aggressive chains to enable my Echo potentially, because if we're ever able to hit a chain onto somebody, then our Echo might be able to get some fairly good squishies. Though as they're on Wrecking Ball, I'm actually going to be stacked on my team, because if I ever hit a chain on their Wrecking Ball with my team's LOS, we're kind of just going to be able to instantly win the game. Pharah is going to be something to consider with our positioning as well. Since Pharah is a very scary damage dealer, it's kind of important for us to be not taking too much damage, and maybe even playing a little bit more aggressively than I was in that first fight. So the Pharah is able to sort of like slowly bleed out some of our resources, and we will be going down. So yep, we played a little bit too slowly there. We got chunked down by some of their Pharah direct shots. We weren't able to get into stepping range of their team. So how I want to be sort of playing this game, especially since Wrecking Ball is one of the heroes that's going to sort of scale in terms of power as the game goes on. Once they get their major perk, we're not going to have many opportunities to find chains onto them since the bubble will be able to block. So I want to be playing a little bit aggressively on this Wrecking Ball to force them out with our chains, and then maybe completely deplete their shields aggressively to deny any plays that they would want to go for. So as our hazard goes down, I'm going to be trying to look for something myself here again, chaining the Wrecking Ball yet again, forcing out their shields as their team sort of walks onto our backline. I just want to be helping them the best that I can. Making it so that since I'm going to be kind of in this main support role, I want to be denying the enemy team's plays as much as I can. And the central figure for all of the plays that they would want to be making is going to be their Wrecking Ball. I'm a little bit late to help out my Echo there, so to help with this, I'm going to be looking for a little bit more of an aggressive play onto their squishies instead of their Wrecking Ball. Though, unfortunately, with our team going down, I think that we will be also going down for the count. Finding the trade onto the Kiriko before we depart, though, is going to be fairly good for us because they're not going to be able to get too much healing as they walk up and as they poke our team during our walk up. So, I have my Mizuki ult. I know that they have barrage coming up here, so I want to see if I can potentially try to negate their barrage with my Mizuki ult. See if I can get into a good position to do so. With our Torbjorn getting fairly low, maybe I could be looking for something aggressive with it. Pharah going down, our Echo finds 2, really good for us, and then we're able to hit the chain onto the Wrecking Ball as they dash. Our Hazard is fighting that Sojourn on left side. I think it's going to be kind of hard for them to die, especially as our Baptiste is about to get into range to help them. So they find a really good late kill onto the Kiriko. Our team is fighting. Unfortunately, I'm not able to deny any plays since pushing the cart is just so valuable here. Somebody needs to do it. Sometimes it'll suck. But fortunately, my team is going to be fragging out while we stay on this objective. Minefield is coming out from our Echo. They're going to be taking down the Wrecking Ball without our help. Wonderful news. And they will swap off Pharah, which I think is even more amazing for us. We will be taking this, not lead quite yet, back, but we will be getting our checkpoint. As our Baptiste is leaning a bit more towards point, I want to save some of my hats. Though I think if they are using more ultimates here, I'm going to be popping my Mizuki field. And hitting the chain onto the Wrecking Ball is going to make it so that we can get really aggressive here with our dash. I think I'm going to be staying in to clean up everybody else that I can, and we will be taking the lead and sending their entire team back to spawn. I think I'm going to be looking for an early chain onto the Wrecking Ball yet again, forcing their shields out, and our Hazard is going to be able to follow up on it to force their ball out even further. Our Baptiste gets fairly low, but since the Wrecking Ball is towards this left side, I think that I can just be looking to deny them. As they use their minefield though, I'm just going to be clearing the ones inside of my LOS to enable myself to walk, and then pressure out their backline who's walking here. And then immediately looking to chill afterwards. Mizuki's going to have a lot of damage that they can do for support, so it's really strong to be able to go for some of those more aggressive plays and take some of those hits onto the backliners if you get the opportunities to do so. But if you're not able to get the opportunities to do so, you should be trying to deny the plays that the enemy team can make, primarily through your chain, shutting down any sort of aggressive players that they have or any sort of aggressive plays that they're looking to make. But that should be your default, and then if you're not able to do that whatsoever, or there are no threats for you to deny, you can go for some really aggressive plays. But following that sort of formula, we will be continuing our winning trend and getting halfway through Grandmaster 3, hopefully champion soon. Alright, I'm looking at chat now. Stream going smoothly, awesome. Nice train, great game with Mizuki, awesome. I hope we're going to be able to continue playing them. I've played a good bit more since like the first video that I made about Mizuki, which was literally my first time playing. But now I have a little bit more experience on Mizuki. Hey, love your content. Please recommend me a third support for your roster. You can play Wu Ying and Brig. You'd love to broaden the comps so you can play as much as possible. You play Wu Ying and Brigitte. I think an amazing pick for you. Kiriko's always safe, but I'd recommend trying to pick up a Lucio to your hero pool, potentially. How needed is it? Yeah, I would recommend for your hero pool being Brigitte and Wu Ying, I'd recommend trying to pick up Lucio or Juno for your ranked grind. Speed boost is going to be a really valuable resource that your heroes don't necessarily provide, and sometimes it'll be very difficult for you as Brigitte or Wu Ying to sort of enable more brawly based comps. Because you want to be playing a little bit slower, or it'll be kind of hard for you to keep up with a super mobile composition. So I recommend leaning into Lucio a little bit more, but feel it out. Whoever's fun to you, you're naturally going to be wanting to play more and improve on faster. So Lucio would be a very good hero for you to pick up, but Juno would be a pretty good hero as well for your hero pool, I believe. Since we want to be leaning into Mizuki even more, I think that I want to potentially be banning heroes like Orisa and Emre. Ideally, I'd love to force the enemy tank onto a D.Va or something. Because chain goes through DM, Mizuki is going to be a very good hero into D.Va. Because you're able to completely shut down most of their booster cycles, as well as you're going to be able to do a bunch of damage by using your shift to get into some creative angles in that sort of like mid-fight area to get past the DM potentially. So with our composition right now, we're going to be having looks to be a Tracer, Reaper, Brigitte, and me on Mizuki. I'm wondering what our tank wants to be playing here. Looking like a Hazard, I think a really good pick. We're going to be needing to lean a little bit more into our healing this game compared to last one, because we're going to be on a little bit more of a resource demanding composition. it'll be kind of difficult for us to sustain everybody through super aggressive plays. So I'm going to be trying to keep everybody up through healing initially, but if it's not working, then we might have to just get hyper aggressive. Missing the chain onto the Roadhog is going to put us in a little bit of a rougher spot, but as we continue to spam out their team, Tracer's on this angle, and I can be looking to try to mark out this Tracer quite a bit here. Finding the chain onto their recall, we'll be taking down their flanker. So now we're going to be able to devote all of our attention to the front line. And we can just sort of follow up. Main thing that I want to be thinking about here, as I see that they have Tracer, they have Soldier, and Mercy. I want to see if I can be stacking on my team a good bit to make sure that we're getting value out of our aura healing. And if we can't get value out of our aura healing, because we're getting sort of surrounded and it's going to be punishing us for being so stacked, we can just be dashing onto one of these flankers like the Soldier or the Tracer and just fighting that duel. Sometimes in ranked, I talk about it a good bit in my one trick video, or my Theory Thursday one trick video, but it's super important to be developing your micro, since at some point you're going to need to just hit the shot. Straight up. There are a lot of heroes and sort of matchups where it won't be as mechanically demanding, but there are still a lot of times where micro is just going to be really important, especially for a bit more of a mechanics-based hero like Mizuki. Sometimes there's just going to be only so much that you can do through like logic alone. So as their Mercy sort of walks towards us, I'm tempted to ult, but I think that it's still going to be somewhat unlikely for us to win that fight. And unfortunately, with me going down, I won't be able to match their Whole Hog or their Kitsune Rush with my Mizuki ult, which is going to be the main thing that I want to stay in sync with when it comes to ultimate charge. But our team is going to be amazing and win that fight anyways. So thinking about what kind of value we actually got there, we were able to pull their Mercy and their Tracer out of the fight for a little bit, which potentially could have helped our team sort of live, but it might have just been straight up better to die a little bit earlier and respawn, so I'd be able to get back to my team, stay stacked, and then use my ultimate when it was really needed. Since we have our ult advantage though, I think that I'm going to be looking to step here a little bit. Missing my chain, which is actually going to make it really bad. If we were going to be able to hit our chain there, it would have been a really good ultimate, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to get too much value out of it and only be able to claim this left side space and no kills because we didn't hit our chain. We weren't able to take that advantage duel against the Roadhog. With their Roadhog going down, their Tracer is going to be the only one remaining. I think that will be pretty chilling here. So I could be starting on an angle, though I think that with their ultimates sort of coming up and a lot of swaps that they make, I want to be stacked on my team, giving like my aura healing to as many people as I can as I see what swaps they make. Since if I'm on an angle early, especially since I don't have too much mobility on Mizuki, it's very possible that we could just get caught out fairly early if we're too aggressive. So as our hazard walks up at us, we just want to be chilling a little bit here, staying stacked towards my team, and then just seeing if I can get any more value out of our aura. Huge spikes coming out from my hazard. I'm be looking for my dash to fight on this right side area, and we will be cleaning up the rest of their team. Now closing in on my Mizuki ult, I'm actually going to be poking up a little bit to farm it aggressively since I think that they're coming close on some of their really dangerous ultimates. I want to see if I can get any extra little damage in using my shift early and aggressively to try and build up the last little percent of my ultimate ability. I think this could actually help us quite a bit. I know that traditionally the, what's it called? A lot of Mizuki players actually strongly prefer the other perk where it just heals everybody and yourself more every time you throw a hat. Though I want to try the speed boost perk because our team benefits greatly from getting close and personal to the enemy team. I want to try the speed boost to enable our teammates, because I think that it could be really, really helpful in some instances of either getting our team out of some sticky spots or getting them into their effective range against the enemies. Since if their soldier's able to free shoot or their Kiriko's able to free shoot for a while, this is going to be kind of rough for us. So their hazard's really close. I'm actually going to be looking to step up, and unfortunately I will be missing the chain, but I can immediately teleport back to my team. Kitsune Rush being used. I'm going to be stepping inside of my Mizuki ult, which effectively denied both their hazard ult and their Kitsune Rush, and we will be in a really, really good spot. My Brig is having an amazing block on that Pulse Bomb. Using our Death Blossom, our Mizuki ult, and our Rally, we will be winning this point. A few too many ultimates used for my liking, so I'm going to be pressuring them a little bit early and aggressively like how we did before. But I will be just inting my brains out. I didn't know that their hazard was there quite yet. I thought that their hazard would take a little bit longer to get back into the fight. So very, very bad play from me. If I was able to get my teleport back to my team, it would have been very good since we force a lot of cooldowns. But that's going to be the sort of like execution mistakes that will cost you a lot of that can be costing you a lot of games. So as far as top right, I'm just going to be chaining down their hazard here, doing a lot of damage into them. My Brigitte is fairly low though. I just want to be bouncing my shots around the corner, see if I can clean up that Kiriko, and we are successful in doing so. I could be trying to flank or walk a little bit towards their spawn, but I think that my value is just going to be best by standing on the point, and we will be winning that flip back in our favor. I think that I'm just going to look for an early chain yet again, and as my TP is right here, it's actually going to be kind of scary for us, but an amazing spikes from my hazard, we're able to bait them into that little corner, which will enable us to find kills onto their entire team. Though we go down in the process, we were able to force out a lot of important abilities like their Kiriko TP, their hazard slash, and putting them in a super, super vulnerable position to clean the rest, or let our team clean the rest of them up. We ended that game 18-4. We died quite a few times, so I think that we did find a good bit of value in a lot of those games. Our team was definitely very, very strong. So hopefully in our next one, we're going to be able to win a little bit more decisively and carry the game instead of sort of enabling our team to do so for us. But continuing our winning trend up to GM3, if we win this next game, we're going to be climbing up to Grandmaster 2, getting one step closer to champion rank. So let's see if we can win it. Everyone misses, some people miss more than others. SC gives to make sure not to move your mouse when you can send it because it's sensitive. You like the speed boost a lot, especially when your other support isn't a Juno or Lucio. Yeah, that makes sense. That was sort of my idea too. Since we didn't have like a Juno or Lucio, I felt like the speed boost could be really effective to actually get us into fights or get us out of fights. Though I don't think that it actually did too much in that game. The Resonant Return definitely would have been more effective. How did I get so good at so many heroes? I talk about it a little bit in this video that I'll bring up and put in chat. Bang. There it is. This video that I made a little bit ago says, or sort of explains how I was able to get good at so many heroes. Basically, you want to give yourself a foundation of the game and understanding of how to execute ideas properly, and then once you're able to form ideas consistently and execute them properly, you're able to sort of expand on your ideas by adding different heroes that like to play for different things to your hero pool gradually. So I've been playing Overwatch for more than like 10 years now. So through this process, through the process of first learning off of like one tricking or three tricking like a hero, then I'm able to add similar ones, slowly building up and up and up and up my understanding of how each different hero and different ideas want to be playing, to the point where I'm able to understand every idea or most ideas that different heroes want to be playing for, and have the capabilities of executing them, because I've learned how to just sort of better my micro over time. And it's the main thing that I would like to try to focus in on and explain through the videos, and especially through the Theory Thursday videos. So I unfortunately do not think that there will be one uploaded today. There will probably be a Theory Thursday tomorrow. Thursday is a state of mind. You have a video that would help you slow down the game. You have a bad habit of rushing yourself in tense situations and start struggling with decision making. You lose a lot of matches that way. That's an interesting thought. Slowing down the game, I think, can be achieved by asking yourself, next time you play the game, try this for me and see how it feels. Ask yourself, what do I need to do? Think to yourself, what does your hero excel at? What kind of plays actively allow you to carry? And if you don't need to do something in a moment, if you don't need to make a play, then don't. But continuously ask yourself, do I need to do something? Do I need to do something? What I used to do when I was coaching players a long time ago, and for getting them to slow down the game, I used to have a lot of players that would just have like a really, really rough in timer. So I would have a metronome set for them that would go like sort of tick every like 15 seconds or so. They like built up the response of asking themselves, do I need to do something? Is there somewhere where I need to be? And off of those sort of metronome ticks were the times that they were going to be able to like make plays or actively think about the plays that they wanted to make. But until those points, they were able to sort of like chill and slow down. A lot of them found success, though it is a drastic measure. It is a drastic measure. Basically, not being able to play the game until you hear a metronome tick is a very it's an extreme measure to fix a specific issue, and it can feel like then you play a little bit too slow, but then it'd be about sort of like finding the right balance, you know? So especially when things get hectic, if you are able to recognize things getting hectic, or like maybe whenever ultimates are used, or like a big cooldown from the enemy team or your team is kind of out there, just think to yourself, do I need to do something? A lot of the time, like, I know a lot of players like might not like feel like they'd be able to recognize when they need to do something, but I personally believe a lot of players know instinctually when they need to do something a lot more than they recognize themselves. There are times in your early days of Overwatch where you had to stay in gold plat to train for a while before reaching higher ranks. Yes, there will be a lot of times where you will go one step back, two steps forward, where most of the times when I'd be trying to push for like a new rank, I'd go down one rank and then I would like shoot up. The SR slingshot is real. When are we getting the legendary Eevee face reveal? Well, we'll see. It's not a secret. You can find it on the internet. I just personally don't like using it. Alright, but locking into our next game here for our support, I'm going to be on Mizuki yet again, since it's never banned, and I wanted this to be a Mizuki focused video. Our team is going to be Winston, Soldier, Tracer, and Brigitte. And I think that with their Doomfist especially, it's going to be a really good matchup for us on Mizuki. Being able to chain their Doomfist through multiple... Goodbye, Winston. Through a lot of the plays that Doomfist wants to be making, our chain is going to be a very effective tool to deny them in doing so. So as we can see there, playing through a Brigitte and a Mizuki for their Doomfist is going to be a very, very difficult task. So I'm going to be trying to be looking for a lot of aggressive plays to force out their Doomfist early. Since we actually don't have that much healing compared to them, we need to be making sure that we get value out of our utility, since that is the value of our kit, is going to be our utility. So I want to be playing a little bit more aggressively and faster, because we are not going to be able to win the sustained fights through our numbers or anything along those lines. but we are going to be able to win and make advantages for our team based off of our utility. So I'm going to be playing faster to try and enable that for our team. Unfortunately, their Sojourn did know I was there before they swung, and it's going to make it a little bit hard for us to sneak up on that Brigitte like I was looking for. But that is going to be a-okay. We still maintain control over the objective, and as we walk back, I see most of our teammates fairly healthy. I'm going to be pathing through left side. I could go right, and right is going to be a little bit better, but I think that I'm just going to be holding this left as I see most of our teammates holding that right area. And if their shooters get set up here, it could... What? Damn! It could be really, really bad for us. So I'll be whiffing my chain, but their Doomfist hits a generational clip on me. It happens sometimes. I just need to hit the chain initially on their step, but that will be a-okay. Our Tracer finds an amazing kill onto their Ana. I know that their Doomfist is looking for something, so I'm going to stick around the central pillar. But as I hear their Doomfist walking on our Brigitte, I'm going to follow up on our rally to see if I can help them out at all. Throwing 2 of my hats into them to see if I can keep our Brigitte alive. But as our Winston gets fairly low, I'm going to be putting my thing down and trying to live while pressuring out whoever I can. Still maintaining the space so I can find a really good spot onto their Ana. Unfortunately, with their Sojourn slow inside of our teleport back, we're going to be taking a lot of damage and then going down, but not before the round ends. So despite us finding a lot of deaths, we're getting our value out of our utility, which is the main form of value that we can be really getting on Mizuki here. So I don't think that, like, sometimes stats don't reflect everything, and I honestly don't know if I'm coping too much or not. But I think that we're finding a lot of value despite our higher deaths across these games, because we're just hitting the chains that we need to hit for the most part. And we're pressuring out a lot of the enemy team to make it so much easier for our team to really just frag out. I don't know how much I'm coping with that. I don't have an absurd amount of hours on Mizuki like I do for some heroes. But it's an idea that I'm trying to work with. It's playing that faster, more aggressive play style is the idea that I'm trying to use to win games. And we're winning so far. So something's going right. With their Doomfist getting pretty low, needing back up to the Mega is going to be allowing us to kind of walk up to a pretty good spot, I think. Unfortunately, with their Sojourn putting their slow on our teleport, we will be going down yet again. I think that maybe I'm playing a little bit too aggressively in open space onto their Doomfist. Since we are not able to follow up necessarily, potentially, I think I'm going to be shifting a little bit more of my attention and aggression to helping out my Tracer or my Winston on their steps, and then just chilling until I see those sorts of triggers. Since our team is fairly spread out most of the time, it's harder for us to really get value or sort of stack on our team. So we're not going to be able to play kind of like how we did last game, but I think that we can still be supporting a lot of different plays based off of how their team is staging. So we see their Doomfist kite to the Mega. We're going to be able to hit the chain and enable our Tracer and our Winston to follow up on it. And even if they didn't, we would still be able to live. So I see my Tracer, or my Soldier, fighting in that bottom left area. I'm going to go to support them by forcing out their Tracer, and we find the kill off of it. I could be sitting main, and that's probably the right decision, especially as our Brig gets low. I'm just going to be throwing my hat at them. So I'm going to be just hiding in this little corner. Their Doomfist would be forced to walk into a pretty scary spot because our Soldier is on the left side. They'd have to be in that close open corridor. And it's going to be really, really rough for them the entire time because it's so close corridors. It's so yucky for them that we can just be taking advantage duels basically the entire time that they walk in there. Unfortunately, another slow onto our teleport is going to be taking us down. I think that we could have chilled a little bit more by kiting through coast side area and then wrapping back into the fight later, though I think that that will be a-okay. Definitely, absolutely, in this sort of matchup, we want to be taking the extra healing on the hat. Not only does it give all of our teammates more healings per hat we give out, but it also will give us more healing every time that the hat returns back to us. So we see their Ana on that right side. I'm going to be throwing my Mizuki ult on point to help our Brigitte sort of cap it. Though I figured that their Sojourn would want to be using their overclock to capture the objective, and I thought the space on high ground would be free, and it would have been much better for me to use my Mizuki ult on myself instead to win that duel, since their Sojourn would have used their slide. They wouldn't have had the resources to really live. I think that would have been really good for us to be able to capture. I had the idea of committing there to maybe see if I can get to the other Mega in time, but I low-key am just kind of running it down a bit. Main issue that I'm having right now on Mizuki, in these sort of hyper-mobile matchups, their Doomfist is able to get to a lot of different spots, their Sojourn's able to get to a lot of different spots, our teammates are moving all across the map, so we're not going to be able to get too much care consistently. But I'm using my shift a little bit too aggressively in a lot of scenarios where it's easy to follow the teleport or easy to force me into a spot where my teleport's not very good. So despite me playing very aggressive very early, and we are winning with that, I think that a more consistent way to win is going to be a little bit more passive. So Doomfist gets onto our backline here, and as they kite to that high ground, I'm just going to be throwing some of my shots towards them. I hear rally on point. I'm going to be walking the bubble. I could stay on the high ground, but I think that it's very valuable to potentially get our chain down. And as their Doomfist walks us down for another time this game, we will be falling. Their Doomfist definitely caught on that we are one of the main people that can sort of stop them from playing the game anytime that we get a good chain onto them in good spot. So they're going to be trying to force us out as much as they possibly can. Our Winston has a touch. I was trying to put my hat on my Brigitte, but it wasn't letting me. So with our Winston going down on the point, we'll be forced to take this to the next game. It's a very, very hard place to play Mizuki because their Doomfist is able to chase us down so often. Despite us hitting the chains consistently, since our teammates are so spread up across the map, it's very hard to actually get the value that we need out of our chains because their Doomfist has such a high HP pool. We're not able to kill it consistently, and if we try to commit it onto a different angle, since our Doomfist is focusing us so much, we will just go down after we don't have our chain to really get away from them. So how I want to be playing this a bit more, the idea that I think I can lean into, I think, what if I stack on just my Brigitte? They're going to be a little bit faster than me, being able to use their bash, but if I stack just basically solely on my Brigitte, stop taking angles, even if it means that my Tracer or my Soldier have a little bit less resources, potentially it could be a very big benefit for us. So I'm waiting for my next chain before I use my my dash again. As our Brigitte is on this main area, I'm just going to be trying to walk up. And we see their Doomfist getting low yet again. I'm still just trying to keep our Brig up as much as possible. Doomfist continuing to walk them down, but as our team is able to chill for a bit, we finally get a good chain to take down the Doomfist. And so now that I have my target to sort of like stack on and play really close to, we're going to be able to get consistent follow-up on our chains. Even if it's just Brig swings, that extra damage is going to be so monumental when it comes to actually taking down and forcing the Doomfist, instead of us hitting the chain, doing a little bit of damage to them, and then falling later as they use more mobility to catch up to us. I think stacking our Brig is going to be the solution that will win us this game. Chaining their Doomfist to see if I can help our Brigitte live. And it will be successful. Doomfist on this left side yet again. I'm going to be using my dash to chase them down a bit here, because they are low HP already, as well as my teleport would be safe back on the point since we already cleared out all of the other angles. So I'm going to be helping my Tracer a little bit since there's not too much of a threat for us taking angles, since the big issue of us taking angles was a Doomfist. And as soon as the Doomfist is dead or back in the spawn, there's not going to be too much threat for us kind of solo laning yet again. So I'm just going to be, now that their Doomfist is back in the game, I'm playing really close to my Brigitte. Unfortunately, I missed the chain, but I think that might be okay. I don't want to get too split, so I'm going to be posturing myself so that they're forced to punch me into our heal bubble. Unfortunately, with our Brigitte going down as well, we will be losing this fight potentially. Our team is kind of fragging out. I have my Mizuki ult online pretty soon, but as they use their own rally, it's going to make it fairly difficult for us. So big mistake there was just we whiffed our chain. It is going to be a very, very important thing to hit it still, especially since we don't have much healing and we're not stacking or we're not taking aggressive angles anymore. The main value that we can get out of our utility is denying the damage that they do, so we don't actually need that much healing. Fortunately, I'm not able to do too much here. Besides, since our brig is just going to be a decent bit faster than us, but as they have a nano Soj, I'm just going to be walking up to try and enable our team. I whiff my chain once more, but as their Doomfist walks towards our team, me and our brig chill on this backside area. Winston gets very, very low. Chain their Doomfist out of the punch, and that will be good enough to take them down. I know that the Tracer wants to be following up on me, so I'm putting myself in a position that's going to make it kind of hard for them to track me on the map as I kite several corners and go through different walls. I always have a fat finger in my chain. Hopefully the Doomfist doesn't touch because of it. Since I don't have my chain, I'm just leaning back towards the map since it's really important for me to get value out of that utility. And as their Doomfist is forced to walk really far forward to pressure us, we are going to be able to force them out. Doomfist close yet again. I have my chain online, and we do hit it onto the Doomfist, getting them very, very low. They do get the Mega as they dash onto us a bit more. I'm just going to be trying to play towards my Brigitte's LOS. We're getting low, so I just throw a pack towards them. I know that their Tracer has Pulse Bomb, so I'm standing on these little lions as I wait for an opportunity to get my next chain off, since I don't want to get Pulse Bomb before I get the chance to use my abilities. As our Sojourn walks towards the point, we're going to be able to clean that up, and we will win that game. Super, super good adjustment, I think, for us to just be leaning directly onto the Brigitte. It's going to be the least mobile hero on our composition, so we can just constantly get support out of any chains that we hit, have a lot more survivability, and be easier for our team to care us if their Doomfist is able to get onto us. I think that will be the right adjustment to make. That will continue our winning streak and get us up to Grandmaster 2. So, continuing our winning trend into Grandmaster 2, our climb up to champ is looking to be a rather swift one for support. Before we get into our next game, that might be the end of today's video, but let me check something really quickly because I don't know when I have my team's VOD review. Okay, yes, we do have a VOD in a few minutes. All right, so with that, for my YouTube video audience, thank you guys so much for watching this Mizuki focused video. And I will be continuing to focus on 1 to 2 heroes per game or per video for like the next week or so, just to try things out. I am capable of hyperflexing across different heroes, but I'm going to be trying to explain my thought process on specific heroes per video as we continue our climb up and through champ. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Bang. And I stop recording. And that was, I think that was a good session. Well, we didn't lose on support there, right? That was awesome sauce. I will have to end stream fairly short here for a little bit, but I potentially might stream later. I have trials for Lunex Academy. That I've been given permission to stream, but I don't know how my schedule is going to shape out or if I'll have time to set up like another pre-scrim. So I'm just going to chill and talk to chat for a little bit, but I'm going to be ending stream shortly here. Let me see what I missed during those games. I feel like chain cooldown is just way too long. I think it's healthy, It sucks a little bit for the Wii or the Mizuki player, but it's so oppressive for tanks or anything with mobile. Thank you for the follow, Fifi. When I return to my TP, there are some times where returning to my TP, like my TP is like in a really bad spot, so I don't really want to, but I definitely probably could have at some points. It's just, every time that I'm like not TPing, it's usually because I'm keeping note of where their Sojourn is, and if their Sojourn's able to follow up on me after I TP back to my anchor, it's a really, really hard, it's a really hard, position to live. Amazing. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I hope that works out, Kit. How can I best assess when I can expand my hero pool? I don't know how well I can distinguish whether I'm bad at getting ideas or if you're good at it, but the enemy team is preventing you from executing them. When you feel like you have an understanding of what another hero does and you have an idea of what a hero could do that would enable you to like play for that idea, ideally someone similar to your current hero pool, is like, as soon as you think that another hero could be good, I think it's fine to try them out. I think it's super, super fine to try them out. You could see, like, I'm primarily, like, I have a lot of hours on Brigitte, but in one of my earlier videos of the Ranked Lesson series, I was against the Doomfist, and it was really, really hard to, like, stabilize, since they are, like, one whip shot wouldn't be able to completely force them out, and they would just kind of chunk in, like, a bunch of damage over time, or continue cycling over and over and over, and I just couldn't sustain it as Brigitte. So I had the idea to swap Mizuki, even though I had very, very few hours on the hero, because I figured that Mizuki could do a similar thing to Brigitte, but instead of whip shot, I'd be able to hit their Doomfist with the binding chain, and since I was already stacking on my team as Brigitte, it would be able to force out their Doomfist like a lot more. So it's a similar idea. It's basically the same idea, but the execution on Mizuki would be a lot easier or a little bit more beneficial for that specific instance. Is my current favorite support? Lucio's the easy answer. Lucio's like low-key one of my favorite, if not my favorite hero in the game. But I've been loving playing Juno lately. Juno's been so much fun. I really, really, really enjoy playing Juno. I need to get more hours on Jetpack Cat, though. Mercy, Moira, and Jetpack Cat, I think, are my least played supports recently. Open loot boxes? Sure. That'll be a good way to sort of close things today. Oh, damn. That's kind of cool. Wait, that's also kind of sick. I kind of like that 6 skin. I really like just Overwatch 1 Reinhardt, though. That's a good loot box. That was a good open. Epic loot boxes? Wait, what we get? What we get? We got legendary. What the lava girl? What the hell? Oh, that's so cute. What did we decide to spend the comp points on? We went with the Galactic Tracer. It actually looks so sick. It actually looks so cool. Like in game, how it glows. I think it's actually really cool in combination with this skin. Oh, I don't have an emote that like ships the gun. That's okay. I'm really excited to play Tracer in our next video. Well, I already have the next DPS video recorded. So that will be a little bit rougher, but the video after that, DPS video after that, might be Tracer, because I just like Tracer, and that'll probably get us up to champ on DPS. They reworked the visuals on galactic weapon camos. It looks nicer lately. I'm not sure. This, I know the skin already has like, yeah, I read chat over on YouTube. If I'm ever like in game though, I usually do not read the chat. Let's see what I get for the anniversary loot boxes. I kind of like this for Diva. I don't know where the purple came from. Is that like the colors for like a decade? Because the gold makes sense for Overwatch. Like the white and gold makes sense, but like I don't know what where the purple came from. Like it's fine. Oh wait, damn. Wait, that's kind of tough. I also kind of like that. Do I have a banner? I don't know if I do. Oh, those are fun. Okay. I love goats. All these skins, or all these sprays are so cute. These are dev arts? That's awesome. I'll equip that. You received loot boxes. True that. Okay. Now the big one. 22 loot boxes. And then I'm going to get to my team SWAT review. Two legendaries. W. Wait, Reindeer Orisa. Wait, that's sick. Wait, maybe it's Rudolph time. Next tank video. I am not using construction Ramatra. I'm sorry to say. Kind of like that Sombra skin. Opinions on Maid Ram skin? It is strange. I'm excited for the VOD review. Imagine playing on a team would be super fun. Yeah, playing on a team is extremely, extremely fun. VOD today is going to be a little bit more boring because we're just deciding. We have an important match coming up fairly soon. So we're just deciding like for the next, like what comps we're like defaulting to for the next few days of practice. Since the past like week or so has been just kind of like a lot of experimenting with our comps. So today's like VOD is just kind of like meeting up to discuss like what feels good, where are we gonna play what, etc. for the next little bit. But playing on a team is super, super fun. I recommend it if anyone has the time to do so. Not only will it sort of expand your understanding and the view of the game drastically, it's also just like you're going to meet a bunch of cool people. It's really fun to compete. If you like playing competitive Overwatch and you want that sort of like next step up, I strongly recommend looking to get into team play. You were Diamond 4 and you dropped to Gold 2 days in a row. Or you dropped to Gold in 2 days. How do you recover? Oh, that sucks. Maybe you can look at some of the games that you lost and see if you can recognize any common patterns in your gameplay to fix them. Your uni had an Overwatch team you want to try out, but your anxiety got the better of you? I get it. I really get it. Oh my, wow, we have so many voice lines. Alright, I kind of like the more power. Dragon Dance, Alexandria. That's cute. I like that. I just like Mei a lot. Mei is like low-key one of my favorite heroes. Gauze. Hieroglyph. That's kind of tough. Okay, we scrimmed against We scrim pretty frequently against KMJ, the Kiss My Junk guy. Like, top 500, like, I think even top 10, like, Junkrat one trick. And they do the most annoying thing possible. Where they, where is it? Whenever we scrim against them, they put this spray on the ground. So basically, at a glance, when I'm trying to take in all of the information on the map and I'm trying to note where all the, like, where the Junkrat trap is, they have fake ones that I, like, sometimes accidentally, like, shoot if I don't look too closely. And it's actually so annoying. It's so annoying because I play Wrecking Ball, right? In a lot of the maps against them. So I'm like moving around the map at like Mach 10. And I just have to be really, really careful of the traps. I can't spend time like seeing like like the little details on each trap. So I just take general looks and it's actually so annoying. It actually throws me off. I imagine it's low-key like one of the things that made them get like top 10 on Junkrat. There we go. You solo queued for most of it? Yeah, if you solo queued for most of it and you ended up dropping significantly, there's probably some sort of source of value that you stopped playing for, even if it was subconsciously that you leaned away from it. Your mechanics very rarely like drop. Like if you're still actively playing the game, it's hard for you to like lose like hands. It's hard for you to lose mechanics. So there might be some sort of shift in your gameplay that ended up being less valuable for you as a player over time. That if you just look at like maybe consistent patterns of why you're dying frequently or fights that you lost in your big loss streak, you can recognize maybe what you are doing wrong, or if you can see, if ideally the ideal scenario is you can compare times where you were winning, like if you ever had like a big win streak or a recording of a big win streak and then compare it to your gameplay now, then you'd be able to see like what you were doing differently exactly. Since it's very rare, super rare, unless you get into some sort of like accident or something, for you to just like lose mechanics like randomly. You're gonna have bad days with mechanics. That will be very common. You have bad days, you're gonna have good days. Sometimes you're gonna be able to aim a bit better. Sometimes you're gonna be aiming worse. It's just how it goes. But you can recommend, like, you can always see sort of like what's going wrong if you can compare when you were winning to when you were losing, and then try to replicate the times that you were winning more. Okay, but with all of that said, I think that my team is bringing out the guillotine for me since I'm late to our VOD review. So thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream. I might be streaming a little bit later since I have trials for Lunex Academy, potentially. I don't know if I'm allowed to stream it yet, but we will see. And I'll put if I do end up streaming, I will give an announcement in the Discord server a little bit beforehand. Let me get the link to that and I'll put it in the chat. Bang. Bang. So anytime, I'll be announcing in there if I'm streaming or if I'm not streaming those sort of trial games. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see y'all later. Bye bye.